Wesley.
Yeah?
Now, we love this franchise that we're about to do.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the most iconic, probably the best trilogies for a fantasy world.
Oh, God.
If you had to pick one moment that you love from out of all three of the Lord of the Rings movies,
Fuck.
what would that be?
That's an impossible task.
Yeah, because all three movies are
They're great. You know what? Just so I can think about mine, you do yours first.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Alright. Now, I thought about it,
Yeah?
and I was like thinking to myself, all three movies are good, what can I pick? I'm gonna pick Gandalf versus the Balrog.
Oh, God, yeah.
So, they just defeated the Cave Troll and, what was it, orcs or goblins?
Yeah, well, in the books, the name Orc and Goblin are pretty much interchangeable for the same creature, so...
Alright, so after they defeated them, they hear some noises.
Yeah.
And they leave, and they're surrounded by them, but they see fire heading towards them. So they run from almost getting burned from this hell that's about to come towards them. And there's like Gandalf's like, go over the bridge! Ah! And they get to the bridge, and they turn around, and they see this
giant demon creature.
This fire demon called the Balrog, which is probably the coolest design of any monster from both the Lord of the Rings and anywhere in general.
Yeah.
And Gandalf is like, you'll never pass! And then Sam's like, no, Frodo's like, Gandalf!
Yeah.
And it's like it's like the Balrog gets a whip and just like about to attack.
He cracks it, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you shall not pass! And he destroys the bridge.
Yeah.
And then he gets grabbed.
Yeah.
And the whip just like grabs him and he's like, fly, you fools! And just leaves. What I love about it, because I wish I was in the cinemas to see this moment, because this would have been like a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine like fan reactions.
Just on the edge of their seat.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
I can imagine
God.
like theater reaction videos like at that scene and they're just applauding.
Yeah.
For a line that's actually...
It's not in the book, yeah?
It's actually a blooper.
You shall not... He doesn't say that in the book. He says something completely different.
I think it was like, you'll never pass or something like that. But Ian McKellen, probably the only person I can imagine playing Gandalf, delivers that line, even though he said it incorrect.
Yeah.
And he
still says it so... It's just so badass.
Yeah, and whenever you think of iconic Gandalf lines, that's one of them. Yeah. And it's so cool. Yeah. And that's just the beginning of how much badassery are in these movies. And that was like the last time we ever see Gandalf the Grey.
Yeah, until he comes back as Gandalf the White.
Yeah. So... yeah, my favourite moment is Gandalf versus the Balrog. Epic scene for a cool-looking creature for a cool-looking old man. Yeah. Now it's your turn.
I did some thinking while you were talking about yours, and I have to tell you, my favourite scene from any of the Lord of the Rings movies is the Battle of Minas Tirith. Specifically, the bit...
I was going to say, which part? Because this is a big, huge battle.
Specifically, where the men of Rohan come over the mountain, and then you just see the King of Rohan giving his speech, and he's like, when the sun rises! Like pumping them up for war. And then they just charge it. No, before they charge in, he does that cool scene where he's like...
like his sword hits the sticks.
He hits the spears.
I would have laughed so hard if one of them just like
cuts the blades off.
One night he's got like a really bad like crafted one. It just falls off, and he's like, oh.
No, or he just cuts it off with the sword. But yeah,
because they did that in the Lego game. Yeah, and also the Unusual Suspect.
Well, while they're doing that, and then they charge into battle. And then the orc general is just like, fire, fire! And then the men of Rohan just keep coming. And he's like, fire, Will! And then it shows the faces of the other orcs, and they're like terrified. Yeah. And then the men of Rohan and the orcs clash together. And then the camera just shows you the scale of this battle scene. And holy fuck. The battles, just alone the battles in Lord of the Rings are they're so brilliant.
They're so good, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the big battles you see in all three of the movies have great music, great camera angles.
Yeah.
Like, I know most of it could be like special effects and some of the like, but the way they shot scenes, it just feel like you're there, and it's so awesome. But yeah, like even, I mean, you could argue it's like the cavalry has arrived.
Because at that point, like when that happens, like the men in Minas Tirith, they're almost getting slaughtered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you hear like.
Yeah, you hear the horn.
They just turn.
Yeah, and then they turn around. You see them over the mountain. It's one of my favorite scenes from one of my favorite Lord of the Rings movies.
It is
Return of the King. Yeah.
Return of the King has like every Lord of the Rings movie, but I would say if I have to pick one Lord of the Rings movie I love is Return of the King. Yeah. And that's just got the best moments, and it's like the most climatic battle ever.
So yeah, my favorite scene from Lord of the Rings is the Minas Tirith battle.
Cool. So there you have it, folks. That is me and my brother's favorite moment if we had to pick one from out of all the three of the Lord of the Rings movies. Let us know what your favorite moment in any of the Lord of the Rings films, and let us know in the comment section below. And